For this episode, we want to give a shout out to Ben with Kreefeld Bagel Company. Kreefeld Bagel Company is boiling and baking fresh sourdough bagels every morning. They're located in Kreef Hall at 4825 Trousdale Drive, Suite 228. Go check them out. Welcome to another episode of the Nashville Dads. For this episode, we have on Justin's friends Chris, Aaron, Marcus, and Jason. A lot of this episode is the guys discussing how they met, became friends, ridiculous adventures they did together, and how having kids changes the parties you throw. I'd like to think most of us have a group of friends we used to see all the time, but now get together once or twice a year. Having kids makes your life a lot busier, but also makes you really appreciate the times you get together. This episode is a lot of that energy and also a lot of stories about Justin. It was a lot of fun, and we really hope you enjoy. If we're going to do this, we have 6 people and 4 microphones, so we do have to have a name with a voice, so everyone has to at least introduce themselves to help out with the confusion that'll happen after this.
So we have my group of friends that I've had for 10 plus years now, at least. Yeah, for you. For me and Aaron, I think it's been 10. 12 for...
That sounds about right.
For Jason, and then 15, I think, for Marcus and
I think it's been
and Chris.
The OGs.
But we will do an introduction. Marcus, say hi. We'll just go around the room so everybody knows. Voiced.
I'm Marcus, this is what my voice sounds like.
A name to the voice.
Pick the tone you're going to talk in all afternoon.
Hello.
The pitch. Pick the pitch. You're going to go low? I'm going to go low.
Marcus needs some more.
I'm going to go British.
Everyone should
Some more beer.
Yeah, so my name's Marcus.
You wanna do the German accent?
How many kids do you got,
Got
Marcus?
2 kids at home, 8 and 5, and it's wild and crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
This is Aaron. I have 2 girls. I got a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old.
This is Chris. I have 3 girls. I have an almost 9-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 2.5-year-old.
My name is Jason. I have 3 kids. I have a 11-year-old boy, a 9-year-old boy, and a 6-year-old girl. And I've only moved once since I moved to Nashville.
And then Devin.
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Devin. I have 3 kids, 8-year-old, 6-year-old, 2.5-year-old. Justin.
And I'm Justin. I have a 2-year-old and another one cooking. That'll be end of October.
Whoa. Hey, congrats, man.
Now, Justin, we won't release this episode until like the middle of June. Are you cool with that being on the episode? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
It's going to be a boy.
Oh,
Yeah,
sweet.
we
Are
just
you
found
it's
out.
going to be a boy, or you actually know it's going to be a boy?
We know it's going to be a boy. We did the genetic testing.
You're just going to will it.
No.
It's going to be a boy.
It'll be a boy.
Callie said that she wanted a boy for one of our children so that way she could have a child that would love her forever. And I said, sorry, honey, I got 3 girls that will take care of me in my old age. I'm not sure what you're going to do.
Yeah.
But,
So, yeah, Chris, you have all girls. And Aaron has all girls. Marcus, you've got
Boy and a girl.
1 boy and 1 girl, and Jason, you have the 2 oldest boys.
Right.
How is that?
It's going fast. So my oldest son is starting middle school in the fall, which is
Man.
crazy. Yeah.
I remember the
Yeah.
day when you told us that you guys were pregnant with Will.
it was at,
Arrington?
no, it was at an Italian restaurant.
Maggiano's.
Oh, yeah.
It was at Maggiano's.
Maggiano's. We were around the big circle table.
Man, good memory. It's a long time ago.
You're that
Yeah.
important. You're that important.
Wow, man. This is a special
Well, you
moment
were
for
the
me,
first-
guys.
You guys were the
I
first
think it was all like,
group of our friends that we're going to have a kid.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's
yeah.
what we remember because it was like, oh crap.
Yeah,
Here goes the
exactly. I remember saying like,
So it
oh,
begins.
Well, here goes the fun.
Well, you have that conversation every single time with a friend. Be like, you're not going to be the parents to just fall off the face of the earth once you have kids, are you? And everybody's like, oh, no, totally
yeah.
not.
We'll
us.
still hang out
We're gonna
all
bring
the
our
time.
kids everywhere.
Yep. I was the last of you guys, and I was thinking that the entire time. And then when Ada came along, I was like, shit, I was so wrong.
So confident.
But yeah, the audacity that people have of saying, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be the same person once this little baby is born." No, nope, not at all.
I still feel like you have that buffer when they're that age that you can still carry them in like a basket. You know, you can still keep them out late. They don't know the difference. You can still be out with your friends and carrying the baby, and
That's true.
it lasts for a short period of time.
That's true. I think mainly because you're in denial about it, and you're like, you don't realize that the pace that you eat your meal starts to quicken because you're just like, let me get through this meal really, really fast before she wakes up, because she's in like the stroller or whatever, or like no, okay, one of us has to keep an eye on her, so you eat first and I'll eat second.
Yeah.
And after a while, it's like, why are we doing this? It's not worth it.
Well, and then it shifts now to where you got a 5-year-old and it's just not fun to go out. Then you're chasing the kids around the restaurant and you're like, is this even worth being
It's
out?
not. It is not.
See, I have it a totally different way. Me and Haley have it to where I eat really, really fast as soon as I get my food. She is the one that's in charge of taking her to go potty the a million times that we're there for only a half an hour. But as soon as she is done eating, I'm the one that runs around that restaurant with her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind it, actually. Sometimes I'm like, I need to get up as well.
The restaurant doesn't mind either.
But the eating as fast as possible, holy crap. Like, I'll go out to eat with regular people, and I will be done with my meal, and they're like a quarter of the way done. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I just have a kid.
You're like, bring all the food out immediately. Don't stage this out anymore.
You're like, are you guys want any drinks? If we want drinks with the appetizers, with the meal, we'll take dessert. And go ahead and bring us a to-go box.
Have you guys, I felt like I mourned the moment whenever I realized I had to order individual meals for my kids going out. Like the moment where it goes from like, they'll just eat some fries off my plate to like, oh, and I have to spend like an extra $30 at dinner.
Yeah.
I still mourn that moment every time.
Oh,
I
and
go
it's
out to
like
eat.
$30 for mac and cheese and
Yeah,
chicken nuggets.
yeah.
too.
It's not like a good meal, and they don't eat
grilled
it.
cheese and mac and cheese get so freaking expensive. Like it is like we just had this for lunch. Like
Yeah.
I cooked this for you for lunch. Now I'm about to pay $25 for you to have it again at a restaurant, and you're only going to eat half of it.
For them to eat 3 bites.
Yes.
And then you get to finish it out. You're like, I'm paying this $20 for grilled cheese. I'm going to eat it.
It's how you get the dad bod.
That's right. Absolutely.
My wife and I
Yeah,
have
we're
the
all
conversation
staving off.
all the time. We're like, oh, they want the mac and cheese. Be like, is it going to be like a legit mac and cheese, or is this going to be like Kraft Easy Mac that's
You got any lobster bits in
$8.99 on the
that?
menu?
Yeah.
Is it bacon?
My son Nick, he's like a mac and cheese connoisseur. He'll like take a bite and he's like, "No, this is no good."
Well, we just paid $25.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to eat it, 'cause- or else we'll go home and make you
This
more
is
mac
for
and cheese than you
peasants,
will.
Dad. I don't want
This
this.
was powdered cheese.
I only like
I
the
need a good
Velveeta.
bechamel sauce.
This is not made to order. That's so funny. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
The
He'll
cheese.
get the mac and cheese with like the little powdered cheese on top of it. He's like, "What is this, Dad?" I ordered mac and cheese. Oh, there's a little extra on there.
It's just
Cost an extra
that's
$4
called- It's
too.
called a little synthetic cheese. I got that through college.
Cheese product.
So having the oldest kids in our group, what sports do Will and Nick?
Yeah, so we did.
like-
We do swim team.
Okay.
Yeah, so my oldest he's on a swim team, and that's like 4 days a week. And then,
Jeez.
yeah, and then let's see, Nick does taekwondo and soccer, and they both do piano lessons,
Okay.
and that keeps us pretty busy.
Yeah. And what about the little one?
Yeah, Evelyn does jazz and ballet and soccer and swim lessons.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a full calendar.
I was gonna say, do you guys have time for yourselves at all?
The answer is no.
9 days a week. Got something going on.
No, and so my oldest is now he started his own little lawn care business in
No
our
way.
neighborhood. He got his like referee certification, so he refs games now too. So he's like, gets pretty excited about it. He's got a little online account that he gets paid, and he's like, check out the balance, Dad.
Nice.
like-
That is so cool, dude.
$105. It's Will.
Will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like next weekend I got 4 more games. It's gonna go up to 185.
How much do they pay him
Have you
for
talked
that?
about taxes yet? Have you said? You
I
don't
think
get
this will be a
105?
big year to learn about that. So this was like the first time I actually had to put his social security number in something that because he's getting paid. This is not like it's me getting paid and giving him the money. This is under his social security number. So
yeah.
I actually have no idea what that's going to
That's
look
really
like on
funny.
taxes yet.
I remember having a lawn care like business as well, but it was so long ago. I mean, it was straight cash and nothing was ever reported.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like, I was like, okay.
IRS is listening in. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, I did the same thing, lawn care business, and it was basically just for a few of my dad's friends or my grandpa. But the first place I ever worked was McDonald's, and I had like, I still had to get taxes taken out for that, with the very few amount of money that I had. I still had to get taxed from the freaking government.
Your parents got that money back. They just never gave it to you.
They probably did.
Yep.
Should we tell Justin? No. I had to do half his work anyway.
That's an annual rent payment, you know.
It's like your dad's driving you to the job and waiting there for you to finish it.
How old were you when you worked there?
Maybe 14. So I don't know, like, what is the minimum age to actually?
To not be child labor.
Yeah.
Hopefully 14.
Yeah.
I think for McDonald's. Yeah.
What was everyone's first job?
Oh, man.
Oh man.
Back in the day,
Yeah.
worked at a old-fashioned ice cream parlor.
Yes.
All right.
And called the Pink Dipper. It was amazing. Fun job.
Did
but,
you have to say like "Welcome to the Pink Dipper"?
Yeah.
But it was one of those where
Hi,
like
I'm
I serve you?
Marcus. Welcome to the Pink
Hello.
Dipper. All right, Aaron. What about you?
I was a server at the local retirement center. So it's just me serving senior citizens their
Of course.
baked beans and mac and cheese and toast.
How
Man.
old were you?
I was 14 years old because I couldn't drive yet, and I was serving them their meals. It's the best job I've ever had in my life. Like those,
Really?
all I did was just I took them their food.
Oh, dude, I bet they ate you up,
I
man.
loved it. I just sat there, heard all their stories, and it was by far the best job.
That is so cool.
That's great. That's great. Well, apart from mowing grass, and I did that a lot, but the real job was Dairy Queen.
All right.
Marcus and I have a lot in common.
Yeah.
So making
Share your interest of ice cream.
mine had a legitimate name though. So, making blizzards and running the window, running the front.
All right. So,
Okay. So what's the purpose of the blizzard of going
That
holding
you
it upside down? Is it
that it actually stays in the cup, and that you didn't like over blend it, and that the ice cream isn't too runny.
so did it ever fall out on somebody when you did
The
it?
only a couple of like the mixes, and the hardest one to make and to truly remain still like a blizzard, because it wasn't supposed to be like a milkshake.
Yep.
The milkshake, obviously you blend it too much, and you have milk in there as well. But with the soft serve ice cream and all the toppings, the only thing that was really hard when you did like the banana split blizzard, because there's so many toppings in it, and that one you're just kind of like. It was like a swooping motion. Like you didn't leave that one inverted very long because it was the hardest thing to do. The hardest thing to do was actually the chocolate covered dipped ice cream cone, because a soft serve, depending on how if they wanted the small, it was like one dollop, and you had to do like the perfect like little loop on the top of it. Medium was $2, and then the third was like $3. And because the soft serve ice cream, you have to get it just right, create it, and then flip it upside down in like the chocolate, this vat will harden, and then pull it up. And so that one took a while.
I think we found our entertainment for the 4th of July party.
there we go. Yeah. All right. So, when I was in high school and my friends worked at Dairy Queen, I always went there to get a free blizzard or ice cream.
Yes.
Were you those guys as well that were giving them out to your friends?
No.
No.
Did you have friends to give them out to?
No. The short answer was no as well. No. That would have been definitely unethical.
Oh, I am so
And,
sorry.
would have brought a lot of
I was not the
values
most
there.
ethical person back in high school.
The best thing to do though, because the toppings would come in boxes and they're like in big plastic bags. So when the inventory in like the walk-in cooler was just like boxes and bags of toppings and just candy, and so you go back to go get more inventory and you're just stuffing your face in the walk-in cooler with like chopped up Reese's peanut butter cups and Reese's Pieces and M&Ms. I mean, just Oreos. It doesn't matter. And it's just, and you come back out and you're just trying to like clean your face off here. And, but, there's some really good stories from that. Man, I hadn't thought about that in forever. Thanks for bringing that topic up.
Heck yeah.
Jason, what'd you do?
Well, I did a soccer referee license when I was 12. So I started reffing games when I was 12, and I kind of did that through middle school and even a little into high school. But I also had a random first job at the University of Arkansas. So
What?
yeah, my dad worked for the university.
Ew.
It's like, what?
And
Calipari left. It's okay, all right?
and so he had a friend who worked in the entomology department, which is the study of insects. Yeah, nice. And
I was a biology major.
okay,
Yeah,
I forgot about that. So they were doing this study on this one type of insect, and my job was to literally make slides for microscopes with these insects for the whole shift every day for the entire summer.
Ooh.
So I would just like take these jars and do a little drop solution and put 5 little tiny bugs in there, put it and seal it and set it aside and repeat for the entire summer.
That's pretty sweet.
It was random, but I mean,
That's
it was
a cool
easy.
gig, man.
Yeah, it was, sitting in an air-conditioned room. We were listening to the radio with a couple of grad students and me, who was, I don't know, I was probably like in 8th grade or something,
See, now that's a cool story. Like, as opposed to I worked at McDonald's. Like, the most obese place you can probably be. All right, Devin.
I worked at mini golf and laser tag. That was my first. That was my high school job. So if you can imagine me younger with longer hair, just sitting behind a laser tag desk, informing you on how to play
In a
laser tag.
tie-dye shirt, probably.
No, most
Was it a
people,
mullet?
there's a fog machine in there, so people would accuse me of smoking in there and being like, "Are you sure there's a fog machine?" I'm like, "Guys, that'd be so dumb. No, it's not me."
But that'd be like my boys' dream job when they saw
yeah.
you. When they were like 8, 9 years
Yeah.
old, they'd be like, "That guy, I want to be that guy."
It was, so they would be
Life
open
goals.
pretty late until like 11 p.m. and people would come in at like 9 or 10 p.m. to like play laser tag, very clearly stoned. And I'd be like, "All right, guys, just focus for like 2 seconds. Okay, hand here, pow, pow, pow. Don't run. Go, 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 go."
Well, that kind of brings up my memory. So my second job was at the Celebration Station in Knoxville, where I was in charge of the tokens and testing all of the arcade games every hour.
What?
So I would walk around and just put tokens in and play arcade games for hours.
So, Imagination what?
Celebration Station.
Or Celebration Station?
Yeah,
What is that?
Knoxville,
Station.
right off I-40. So it was me and my buddy did it, and I got the luck of doing the arcade games, and he got in charge of the bumper boats outside and the go-kart. So he was just chasing all those kids. They would like spin out in the go-kart track. He'd be sweating 95-degree heat, run out there pushing them back and trying to.
You're out there playing Golden Tee.
I'm playing
inside.
Golden Tee inside. Dance Revolution, man. I was
That is
I was the
awesome.
Aaron, you think that
Stud.
machine's still working? I don't know. I need another round.
Try it again.
Might have to
There's
double test.
there's a glitch, I think. Let me test it one more time.
The mini golf place I worked at had an arcade, and we had the key to open it up and mess with that, and consistently got in trouble because I think we had Time Crisis 4. If you remember that game, it was like a shooter game, and we beat it and didn't pay anything to beat it. And there's one day, like the Namco guy came in and was like, hey, so there's like 80 extra tokens that were put into this one, but I don't see any tokens. And we're like, that's weird. That must be like not us, clearly.
For that, and did y'all have the tickets too?
Yeah.
There's a trick that I used to teach my high school buddies that you put the tickets in there and you just keep pulling it in and out really fast, and so it doesn't shred it, but it counts it. So they would get 1,000 tickets off of every 6, and so they would come in with 30,000 tickets and just get whatever they wanted to.
Jeez.
That's kind of like Justin giving away free food.
That's right.
At his.
Hey, I wasn't the one. I was getting the free food.
Oh, you were getting the free food.
I wasn't giving it away.
I wasn't stuffing my face like Chris.
I wasn't stealing the toppings.
It's like I didn't steal it. It's in my belly.
I'm still here.
Still here in the building.
Yeah, you could technically say that to a cop.
Okay, Justin, how did this scenario? How did this scenario escalate to suddenly there's a cop in the room and like, excuse me, Chris, can we discuss the toppings? Management called in the police officer just to tell us about this scenario.
No different than like you tell your
never know.
kids, being like, "Don't go in the candy room." They come back and they got it all over their face. Did you eat the candy?
No.
No, what candy?
Nope.
There's no candy in here.
Man. So, Aaron, working at that retirement home, how did you get that gig? Because that's such like a off the wall type of job.
Yeah, there was a high school girl crush that I had, and she
yeah.
had a job
There you go.
there.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Hey, you need to come work at the Manor House." So I was like, "Sign me up." It's like, "Mom, can you drive me to my job?" So she was working, and my mom would drive our minivan with the TV in the top, like all that. And so she would drop me off, and I made sure she dropped me off around the back, so no one saw me walk in.
So, did your parents think that you wanted to do this because it was out of the kindness of your heart, not knowing that it was because of a girl?
It was all because of a girl, but I got paid good.
Oh, nice.
It's my life. Old Manor House. Delivering food and talking to old people. And trying to spit game at a 17-year-old when I was 14.
Whoa.
Oh, so she was
old.
She was older.
Yep.
Chasing the older girl.
I didn't get her.
You didn't get her? That was my next question.
No.
So you put in all that work
Mm-hmm. But I ate some good biscuits and gravy.
and got to hear some cool
Got to
stories,
hear some
right?
cool stories.
So my question is, how often did you hear the same story over and over
Oh
again?
man, I heard the same story every day. Every day from the same guys. Every story, every time.
So several years back, when Sarah and I were engaged, we went up to Michigan for her family side family reunion, and her grandma, had a little bit of issues with dementia and whatnot. And didn't have the best memory, and we were just sitting around at the table at the hotel one afternoon, and she's like, "Oh, who are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm Marcus. I'm Sarah's fiance." And she goes, "Oh, where are you from?" "Nashville." "Oh, Nashville. I've been there before." Blah 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 blah. Fast forward 2 minutes later, she looks up and she goes, "Hey, who are you?" "I'm Marcus. I'm Sarah's fiance." And we'd have this same conversation literally like 5 times. And at the time, we were planning everything for the wedding. And later that day, we were up in the hotel room, and the big discussion was, do we send out save the dates? And I was like, "Nah, that's a waste. Let's not worry about doing it." And she was very adamant about doing the save the dates. And I just looked at her and I said, "Okay, I got a deal for you. If your grandma remembers me tomorrow, we'll do the save the dates." She's like, "Oh, you're such a jerk." Blah, blah, blah.
Did you do the same?
Yeah, I was going to say, did you have
we
to?
caved and did the save.
Nor did she remember.
Double loss.
Yeah.
So I thought this would be interesting. You guys all knew Justin from his first marriage, right? Old
we're going
Justin,
there?
right? No, more just interesting to one of the things that's been interesting about doing this podcast is how many different versions of people there are. And we've had a lot of people on who are like, "Yeah, I have a second marriage," and that's whenever I basically start having kids and everything. How do you guys feel what's Justin like now versus who he was whenever you first met him?
Damn, that's a
Yeah.
deep question.
Wow.
I don't know. My kids think Mr. Justin is awesome.
I love him, man.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Dick.
Hey, they met version 2,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
Version 2.
they like version 2.
Like we were saying that.
They don't know version 1, but they like version 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or do you
Yeah.
think
I mean, version one for them. I mean, Will was what, 3?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So he didn't have much of a thought of it at all. Yeah.
Man, I mean, as we all were in like our early 20s, we all had like our wild kind of craze. And then I think as you grow up, kind of temper it down just a little bit. But other than that, I mean, I feel like Justin's, for the most part, pretty similar to the way he was. I mean, at least that's
not
my
as drunk, though, right?
I mean, not peeing in the washing machine. I mean, that was a pretty awesome story. But
Oh, man.
I guess that's, I mean, I met you in 2009, Halloween.
Yes.
Halloween 2009,
Yep.
because Callie and I just got married. Your ex-wife came to our wedding.
Yep.
You did not.
Yeah.
Um,
I was like, who are these people? I'm not going to go.
I'm not gonna go.
They're not going to be in my life.
Actually, I think it was only a 1 for her. There was no +1.
I doubt that.
flip it around.
Looking, I mean,
That's
we
just what
invited.
Come on,
Justin's
man.
been telling himself that for years.
I think we had over 400 people invited to our wedding. It was ridiculous.
Gotcha.
It was ridiculous. How many people? But maybe it was because I just remember
I'm
that
joking.
there was a
I'm
whole.
just trying to make myself
I think
feel
there was a
better.
whole bunch of Callie's like work friends.
Yeah.
And I believe she was like within that group. So I don't think any of their husbands came. So I think it was probably just like maybe like a spoken thing. But I remember coming to your Halloween party, and you were wearing the full green,
the Green Man.
the Green Man outfit, and
always
we were
sunny.
playing. It was Flip Cup time.
Don't remind me.
It was like a
of
dance
that
party, then Flip Cup. Yep.
Oh.
And that's the first time I
That's
met
a whole
Marcus.
nother story.
Marcus,
in
I think it's the
itself.
first time I met
Yes.
you.
So
Was it the first
Marcus and Chris, both of their wives, worked at Vanderbilt NICU,
Yep.
and were like started at the same time. So then our wives hung out all the time, and then I think it was at that Halloween party was the first time I met both of you guys,
Yeah.
and then we just started hanging out after.
Yeah. Like Marcus, you guys are just started dating.
Yeah,
like
we were
you
pretty-
and Sarah.
We were pretty early on. You know,
Those parties were so much fun, though.
That was the first time. So like that was the first time I met Marcus, and the first time I met Justin. And I'm watching Justin, like he was already drunk and getting he was a rallier, so everyone's playing Flip Cup, and Bill, you even have this game where he is just basically cup checking you all night long.
There was no game. I was not. I was not doing that.
However
to
you
him.
want to call it. Bill was cup checking you like every single moment, and that was.
Can you describe to the listeners what a cup check is, please? Thank you.
That's a baseball. That's a baseball thing where you basically another guy uses the back of his hand and just like taps you in the crotch really, really quickly just to make sure you had your cup in place.
And luckily, I did have a cup for that Green Man costume
Well,
because
it
was
skin
very
tight.
revealing if I did not
tight.
have that cup.
You were looking out for all the rest of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were all newly married. We wanted to hang on to our wives, so you were looking out for us.
I was
But,
just looking out for you guys. I knew it.
But at the same time, I don't know. As I'm thinking about the original question, of just like version 1, version 2 of Justin, I don't know. I mean, Justin's always been just like he's the good friend. He's the guy that'll always be there. And if you need any assistance with anything, any time of day, like Justin's the guy to call. And he's always been that way from the beginning and even now. So. I just
Speaking
know
of
him.
the helping out, you guys, I need help moving that sectional.
Nope. Not happening. Not happening ever. Totally forgot about that one too.
that was a day.
We're moving you guys in.
We sold that, by the way, and somebody did take it without me having to touch it.
I
So-
saw you posted that for sale, and I was like, I'm not moving that stuff.
Say,
I thought
unless they
about
cut off the
texting
other
you
side.
guys Because I
Taking
think
out through
it was
the
all
window.
of us,
Oh,
right?
it was
I
bad.
don't think I was there for that.
Maybe
I think
you weren't there.
It's probably because I had kids.
It was
Oh,
Ryan
yeah.
Willers was
Ryan.
there too.
So
Willard,
Ryan
that's
was
right.
there, basically
You were
being the
replaced
person
with
that
a
was
not
just
so helpful
not
person.
even, not
He
even
was standing
touching
there
it.
watching it. Like,
Yes.
It's like the coach.
He
Sitting
was-
there like, guys, turn it this way, turn this way.
He's he's the project manager that was basically not doing anything.
He was a
except-
government worker.
Yeah.
He was sitting around doing nothing. He was on a smoke break.
Oh man.
I had gone home. I remember we had moved everything in. I had gone home and was like on the couch, and I got the call to come back.
Yeah.
And I step out, and Willer's just being theatrical. It was like, we had to flip this thing over on its end over and over to get it into the truck. We're never going to get this thing in. It's like,
I'm pretty sure I heard this story from each of you individually.
it was that,
Like
it was that
you were
bad.
like, I can't believe you missed this, Jason, but you are the luckiest person in the world. And everybody gave me their version of
That
how
couch will
brutal it
always
was.
have a fond memory for that.
That's a good story.
I think for me, I'll just echo what Chris said. I just think you're a genuine person who like your whole personality hasn't changed except the drinking part. That's I think my biggest memory looking back was I don't know how we got you to the altar on your wedding day.
Oh.
Justin, we were pre-gaming. We were out in the middle of this field.
For wedding 1 or 2?
Yeah, we didn't know him for wedding one.
We didn't know wedding one.
No,
So
I
wedding
was
two.
I was married before
You met any
I met any of them.
So we were in this field, and we were just we were there forever. Probably got told to be there 4 hours before anything to just make sure we all showed up for pictures.
We were in the wedding.
Yeah.
So we were in.
Yeah.
it, and Justin had way too many because we had too much time. And then I remember we were upstairs, walking down the stairs with Justin behind us, and all of us were like, she's going to kill us. She's going to kill us. We're not going to give. He can't stand up straight. He's starting to wobble.
I forgot
like
about
he
that.
can't talk.
Oh, my
like
gosh.
we are. It's like we are in trouble. And all of a sudden, we went to the actual wedding planner. We're like, help. She's like, I got it. I've done this. We're good. She like reaches in her pocket, pulls out this little cap of like pills.
Yep.
And gives and says, make him take these. It was like 4 or 5 pills and just shoves them in his mouth.
It looked like an older person's like pill popper that was like in a little circle, and she like popped several different ones, different colors. She says, "Give him these and have him take some water." And we didn't ask any questions.
Nope. We just said, give him these pills.
I vaguely remember that now.
We had no idea what we would get. We didn't care at that point.
Nope.
We were like scared to death.
What are we doing?
Yeah, that was the first time I think have seen that version of me was at the wedding. So
Well, it didn't
Too
get
late
any
now.
better
Oh,
as the
no.
reception went on. So after somehow we sobered you up. And
With the
then-
pills.
With the pill.
No idea what
Yeah.
that was. It could have been cocaine. It was probably cocaine.
Whatever
It's
those
probably
were,
cocaine.
they worked though. Because like when I got there, Justin seemed like Justin. I mean, celebratory Justin, but still.
yeah,
He couldn't say a word. Like
He could barely
we were
talk.
worried about him saying, I do. Like that's how bad we were.
Dang.
Like worried about him.
Yeah.
yeah.
Then we got
And-
through the ceremony,
Yeah.
and then the reception started.
And went downhill.
He went back to where it was downhill.
Crazy train.
Oh
departed
man,
the station.
that was a lot of fun. I just remember really a couple of things. Ryan dancing like crazy, us all shirtless and wearing our vest, but that was about it. And then because of the way that I was acting, my sister
Your sister
Freaking
chewed
out.
me out. Your
Oh,
sister chewed me
yeah.
out. She goes, put your shirt back on. Like she goes, go get Justin, have him put his shirt back on, and just yelled at him. I'm like,
so my sister was plastered that night as well, and like when she gets in that mode, she becomes the mama bear. She was freaking out. She was like, "Oh crap, Haley's gonna be pissed off at Justin because of all this stuff." And I can't remember who I was with. I think it was maybe one of you two. Jamie brought us over to Haley and was like, "Are you okay with this?" And Haley was like, "Yeah." and then from there we were like, all right, cool.
Full tilt. And then it was full tilt again.
Oh man.
Did we have kids? Who? Okay, so that was.
I think I was the only one that had
I had
kids.
Isla.
No,
I had my
you had
oldest.
Isla because you.
So we had. She was 2.
You guys were pregnant with Isla when me and Haley first met.
when you first met. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she was just born.
Yeah, so you got October, so she was 2. That was 7 years ago. So
Was
she
it
Yeah.
October of 2017?
Yes.
Yeah, because
Okay.
she was born in 15
Yeah.
October, so she was almost 2
Because
at that
we had
time.
known each other for 2 years
Yeah.
before we got married.
That's the kind of stuff you can get away with, like when you have one kid. You know, you can still like
Yeah.
you still go out and and you're like, okay, because you can still pair off. You're like, okay, you wake up the next morning, and if you hadn't dropped them off at the parents' house or a babysitter's house or something, but you're like, okay, it's your time to go, your time to go. But now we have multiple kids.
I had a 4-month-old, a 2-year-old, and a 4-year-old.
So you had all 3.
Yeah. So that was like the peak.
Did they
of
come?
Cool, Jason.
No,
Very
we spent the
available
night at your
was my
house.
name.
Jason, we spent the night at your house after his wedding.
Yeah, that's
We
right.
went back to you.
That's where
right.
I actually stayed the night at Jason's house.
That's right.
The night
You spent the
before.
night at the Jason.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. I also wanted to have like, hey, like I stayed a night over at Jason's with his family the night before my wedding.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was. You were probably like
Did you?
the first
Jason,
house
did you
guest
have a
we
special
had.
moment with-
You know, at night when I was, getting my toddlers their second cup of water that they need,
Yeah, of
I went
course.
and brought one to Justin. I was coming down to get waters, and he's like, "Can you get me one?
Can you give me one?
Can you get me one too?" It's like, "Sure, Justin."
1 cube or 2.
But since you had so many kids, you're actually available to be a home spot. So that was your role in the Ocean's
Right, 'cause
11
I was
team.
obviously not going out that night, and I think part of it was to make sure that Justin wasn't going to go out that
Yeah.
night. That's the real
good call.
reason why he stayed. I think it's like, hey, go to Jason's house because
Yeah. It's gonna be. You
he's not
can't be
going out.
wild there.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun experiences and crazy times. But the Halloweens always stand out to me. Remember when we did the it was a music fad where
Flash mob?
wasn't flash
Yeah,
mob.
I'm trying to remember what it was.
I can't.
Shake.
Oh,
Yes,
that's what it
the
was.
Harlem Shake.
Devin
So,
for the
like,
win.
Yes.
so everybody's just
Yes,
like
I forgot
we.
about that.
I think it was my
Yeah, man.
brother-in-law that took the video, and like, we were all we had
Everyone's,
like
like,
30
talking.
people. Everybody
Yeah.
was talking except for Marcus, who was dressed up as the wolf. I think you were
big
the only
bad
one that's
wolf in like a moo.
dancing.
Oh yeah.
And
Like,
then
you're the
all of a
one
sudden
dancing?
it goes to like everybody dancing. That was hilarious and awesome at the exact same time. But those times were fun.
Halloween's are a little bit different now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think about us now, like with all the kids and stuff like that, and it's just
it's like Boo at the Zoo.
Yeah.
yeah. Now it's like with the zoo, we're like, oh gosh, there's the zoo. Or now, like on Halloween, I'm going out with still daylight because you're the little kids.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to figure out, okay, are they going to get fatigued quicker than I'm going to get tired? And this Halloween, we literally had them in the wagon, and most people are like bringing all their candy stuff to their driveways now, so they don't have to walk up to the steps. So now you're just doing drive-bys. So
Nice.
the kids don't have to walk up to the steps anymore, which helps me out with my 2-year-old who wants to be independent, and now you're worried about a head contusion because walking up steps and such. And now you just drag them on the wagon, and they just hit every
Well,
now
the wagon
driveway.
is a must.
It has to be a
Because
must.
you never know
Has to be a
when the
must.
kid is going to like have a meltdown and be like, no, I'm done walking. Be
Yeah.
like, well, hey,
I'm
kid,
tired
we
of
still
walking.
got 5 more blocks to go. And,
Like, let's just get
have
back to
them
the
just
car.
lay down in the street. I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Got to have the wagon to haul.
That's
wagon.
definitely a holiday that kids 100% change.
Oh, yeah.
The way you celebrate
become monsters.
Halloween
Yeah.
before kids and after kids is
And New
like
Year's.
massive. That too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my oldest son's birthday is New Year's Day,
Oh.
so That kind of changed it for us too.
That was ruined day one.
Hence why at the Italian restaurant we heard they were pregnant. We're like,
Yeah.
You're like,
God,
well,
here we go.
11:59. I'm up way too late.
Yeah, basically.
Way too late.
You did it to us twice because not
Yeah.
only is Will born on January 1st, Nick was born
January 2nd. Yeah.
January 2nd.
Yeah. We almost had 2 New Year's babies.
And Will was the first
Yeah,
at Williamson.
First to Williamson
Yep.
County, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Because I remember you guys had a news article, and
Yeah.
you had that on the refrigerator.
Yeah, Michelle and I were in the little paper holding the baby, like first baby born in Williamson County in 2013.
Dang.
That was pretty cool.
2013.
That was cool, but it was never cool after that. For me, yeah. I mean, but now, I mean, I feel like what a cool birthday though. Like, I wish I was born on New Year's Day. I mean, you would party the rest of your life. I mean, for your birthday, what a great celebration.
Well, he's definitely going to do that in college.
Well, think about other holidays. So I mean, like, no one wants to be born on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of get gypped on that day, and
Thanksgiving, you're definitely going to be
yeah,
around. You're
Thanksgiving. Like, hey, let's have my friends over on Thanksgiving. Yeah, no one's coming.
Yeah.
You know.
We had the predicament with my oldest, with Hunter. You know, he was born, but Sarah was induced for the labor. But we had the option of having him on February 29th, leap day. And so we're like, okay, do we want to do that? You know, and so Sarah and I were having the conversation, be like, well, you know, on one hand, that's super cool. Be like, how many people technically only have a birthday once every 4 years? And we're like, but then I don't know, it's kind of weird. And we wound up being like, no, we're gonna punt it just a couple days, and then like her doctor wasn't gonna be there for a few days. And we're like, all right, let's wait for her to be there, and then we'll do it. But I mean, like I said, monumental days.
Yeah.
Could be crazy.
I'm like the 13th of May, so my birthday is usually Mother's Day weekend, which is I get to always say to my mom, like, well, I'm your present. It's got me out of a lot of Mother's Day presents.
You're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like this week, my birthday is the Monday after Mother's Day. So it's like, I feel like it's kind of selfish to be like, by the way, I was born today. So that's a weird one to have a birthday on, you know?
I think about now the parties that we have now that we actually get everybody together fairly often is your 4th of July party now.
Yeah.
And it's so funny talking about what those parties looked like before, or when we only had one kid, or at least when they were younger. Now it's like in the afternoon, evening, you have it set up with a kiddie pool. You're doing fireworks for everybody. We're all just trying to get our kids fed, keep them from getting eaten up by mosquitoes.
Yes, my mosquitoes are crazy in the backyard.
And
Don't get blown up by the fireworks.
and not get shot by the fireworks.
Well, the big one this past year was the sparklers. The
Oh,
kids just
yeah.
running around like Justin's like, here, light more sparklers, and the kids just running around, and now he's like, get that lighter out of Justin's hands. He is going to get a child
Dude.
burned.
All the moms are looking in terror.
I
like,
love fireworks, man.
Version 1 and version 2 of Justin's the exact same. With that. Like, I almost got shot by fireworks when it was
Right.
version 1. Now
It's
So-
literally
on
just
fire.
subtract the Jello shots. That's about it. That's the only difference.
Yeah. So the very first 4th of July party I did was with my ex at our old townhouse, right on the street. I don't think across the street was even being built yet, and I did not have a good base for these fireworks.
no! That's not a good story.
It was the first one. So-
And it tipped over, started shooting at us, and then shot at my neighbor's house. And like everybody's first instinct was to run and duck and hide, and I was just like, "Oh shit, I don't want anybody to die." So I started running after it and just hopping over the fireworks as they're shooting at me, and I kicked it over into the woods, and luckily nothing burnt down and nobody got hurt. But yeah, there were probably some dent marks on some cars and some burnt areas.
I remember that party because I think that was the first party at your house that I went to with a kid.
Yeah,
I
probably.
think Will was like 6 months old.
Yeah, I felt so horrible. I was like,
And we
shit,
had him in
someone's
like one of
gonna
those
die.
little carriers, and we were like, we're gonna go to an adult party with our kid, and it was like disaster.
Oh God, I can't remember. I can't believe that.
It wasn't your fault. It was, he like cried the entire time we were there, and like we're new parents, and we're like, this is really stressful, and there's fireworks shooting off everywhere, and blazing past his little head, and we're like, yeah, this is really not gonna work too well.
Oh man, I'm gonna try to keep up with that 4th of July, because if it's something that's gonna get us together, then I want that. Because
Well, so how many kids are there between all of us?
so 3, 6, 8, 10. There'll be 12 with me.
Yeah.
12
So
kids.
that's why it's hard to get together. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got to work around 12 kids' schedules to try to get everybody together. I mean, that is impossible.
Yeah.
And you got to juggle it with
That's what-
school schedules.
Oh my gosh,
and
sports and
sports, yeah.
I mean, it's
Bedtimes, little ones got to
Nap
get to bed
time
earlier.
still.
Nap time, yeah.
Yep.
feeding schedules.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you have to plan it like a year in advance for it to happen.
Well, hopefully you guys know that the 4th of July is always every year. So
My kids ask, "Are we going to Mr. Justin's this year for 4th?" They've already asked that question.
nice. That's
Yeah,
what
are
I
we going
like,
to Mr.
man. I
Justin's
love
on
it.
4th of July? I'm like, if he's having it, we're there.
I remember last year though you went without them.
That's right, because they were in St. Louis.
Yeah.
yeah, they were with their
And
grandparents.
you FaceTimed them.
That's right, because they were really bummed.
Yeah.
They were like, eating ice cream and pizza with their grandparents in St. Louis, and they were kind of sad because they weren't at your house for 4th of July.
Yeah. Yeah, but the 4th of July was a little crazy with all those sparklers for sure. We had thousands of sparklers.
Whose kids were victims of the sparklers? My kid, one of my kids. That was 3 dads raising their hands, being like, their kid ran up to them screaming like, "What is this hurt?" And I'm like, "You grabbed it from the wrong end.
Yeah.
Please remember this lesson for later."
We still have some of those poppets or whatever they were that were
yes,
like
the snaps.
to the 10th degree
Oh, those were like
this
those
past
M80
year.
poppers or
Oh,
whatever.
dude, those are
Dude, I remember Aaron
crazy.
like 3 years ago just using that as ammo on me and just constantly throwing them at me.
Well, these
that's
ones
when
from
I
this
got-
last year were like
That was the cup check.
Oh, those
Gunshots
they were
going
legit.
off.
They were legit.
Those are
We
legit,
brought
and I got in trouble. Like, I got death threats from a couple wives, I think, because I'm sitting there just throwing them at the kids and just like at their feet.
Dude, when we get together, we act like little kids. I'm not gonna lie.
I think we've told many of those stories already.
Who's the responsible one now? Like Aaron, I feel like you're in the background, like instigating
I'm the instigator.
as much as possible. Who's like the
you get-
responsible one now? I feel like Marcus, if he said he was sober for one of the parties.
Sarah would beg to differ.
I would say it's Nat. I mean, if you
We'll
had to
have
say
all your
it's-
wives on later and
I'd say
see.
Jason.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say if we put it in order, like a hierarchical order of Jason's gonna slow play it. He's not gonna he's gonna hold back, not get too crazy. Marcus, it really just it depends upon the energy, the situation, how many of those he's already drunk, and it just depends upon the energy level.
How bedtimes went the night before.
Yeah.
It's always a factor.
It's so funny with Aaron. It just has to be like the right moment, but it also has to be the right person there. Like that was the issue
Yeah.
with Ryan. Ryan could always get Aaron on that tempo.
Yep.
Where everything was a go, and the classic saying from Aaron when I knew like he has flipped the switch, like it was going to get crazy. He was like, "Oh heck yeah!" The heck yeah saying from Aaron, I was like, "Yep, it's go time," and it's just like it is on a roll. And Aaron's a rallier too, so once Aaron starts going,
Yep.
like he's going to get everybody else
Uh-huh.
going, and then he's going to Irish goodbye you. Like he'll bail without saying anything. Like he'll get it going and then just like bail out.
I'll get it only if I can avoid Chris's wife. If Chris's wife like latches eyes with you and you're trying to leave, she will come and force something down your throat and say you are not allowed to leave.
You have to take a tequila shot with Callie if you're going to leave the house party.
Oh man.
Yep. But no, I would say, yeah. I'd probably say the first dad, Jason. I think maybe that's why it goes that way.
It's probably because he's gotten that look from his wife too many times.
I probably am the oldest too here, right?
How old are you?
42.
Oh no,
I'm 42.
40. Have to think.
Maybe you.
Marcus,
I've got you.
Marcus
might
has to
have-
think.
No, because I'm September of 81.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, you got me beat.
So-
November of '81.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, we're all real close.
You're November of 81?
Yep.
And you are
February of 82.
February. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's Jason, Marcus, Chris, then me,
I'm 85 September.
and I'm
So,
October 84.
are we saying that like the responsibility level actually matches up with
Yeah,
your age?
That's exactly right.
What are the odds of that?
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Probably age and the amount of kids.
Fair.
Well, I remember going to you like early on, like when we were getting ready to have kids, and being like, "Man, I got to know what is it to expect? How do we handle it? Especially like transitioning from like 1 to 2."
Yeah.
And I remember talking to you, and we were talking about, man, I just feel like you're underwater all the time. He's like, man, he goes, you think that, and then once you have the second one, you figure it out. And then you think you're at the max bandwidth, then you have another one, and you can figure it out. And it was very true. I mean, you figure it out as you go along. But
Oh, absolutely. I feel like the hardest parenting time was when we had one kid. Like, that's weird to say, but I feel
you don't
like
know what to
you're
expect.
so stressed all the time.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, you have a second kid, and you're like, wait a minute, like, it's going to be okay.
Well, you look
Yeah.
back and you're like, man, what did I do with all that free time when I
Yes.
had one?
Just think if we
You know
just
what we
had
did?
one
Yeah.
kid right now.
You know what? I know what we did. We went to the Flying Saucer
Yes.
every
Oh,
week.
yes.
Dude.
We got to work on our plate twice a week.
I was
And now
25
we can't even
away.
coordinate going out for drinks 2 months in advance.
Now you have to have a dad podcast for all of you to hang out.
Dude, that's basically
took-
why I have this as well, is because of the camaraderie.
It took you 3 months to coordinate us all getting in the
Yeah.
same room, and thank God you sent out a reminder Friday
Yeah.
because we all were like, "Oh crap!"
I figured.
It's
Well, it was
Sunday.
Devin that was just like, "Hey, have you heard from all of them yet? Are we a go?" And I was like, "I should probably."
Oh, these guys never bail on anything.
So reliable.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
super
man.
reliable.
But no, we would. The Flying Saucer, I remember like after work going there, like Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, what-
And then sometimes even on the weekends.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how long did that go for that we did that?
2 years.
Oh, 2
Was it-
years? Yeah.
Yeah, because Marcus.
Yeah, because as soon as you two got your plates,
We bailed.
everybody bailed. I was 25.
I
there
spent my
you go.
thousands of
There's the
dollars.
truth.
I'm out.
I was 25 away, and
I
you
think I
were,
had got. I don't know.
you
You guys clearly must have been doing it before I started
Yes,
going because
Marcus and
So-
we had this thing down.
Pint
to
night
art.
scheduled.
Yeah, we would
Well-
know. We had it down to an art of when we would just look at the chalkboard and we would know, like, hit the seasonal ones,
Yeah,
save the
you
ones
guys
that are on the
were-
menu. But we would hit it up like most weeks it was
almost
twice a
every-
week. If it was a Monday, it was Tuesday. Then we hit like a Thursday. Then we get the occasional Friday,
Yeah.
early Friday.
wow.
Oh,
See,
dude,
I was
those
under the
Fridays.
impression it was a once a week thing.
That's all we told you.
That's what you
Jason.
guys told me. But
well,
I
I
was
think I originally met you.
Just kidding.
that's
at-
the first time I
at-
met you was at
at
the Flying
the
Saucer.
Flying Saucer,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Wasn't that
That's-
poker night? Because we used to play. We used
Oh,
to have
that's-
monthly poker night.
Yeah.
We did,
Yes.
yeah. We had
Like
monthly
all these
poker
memories
night.
just come.
I know.
We used to do this.
We used to
do
That's actually how Jason
And
and,
then now
I
we're dads.
really started to get to know one another.
Yeah.
Like, because I think I integrated you into the group.
So,
first.
You
also-
invited me to come over to a poker night.
So what's crazy is, all right, so my ex-wife, Jenny, Sarah, Callie, they all knew each other. That's how we met each other. Then it was Chris worked as a physical therapist at Star. He met Jason, brought Jason along because Jason is another physical therapist. Then I think met Aaron next, and Aaron's a physical therapist. We have Michelle as a physical therapist, Andres as a physical therapist, all within our group, plus all these nurses because Aaron's wife is also a nurse. It was and yeah,
I work
it
in
was-
healthcare. I mean, we got the healthcare scene locked down.
yeah, pretty much. It's crazy the web that has woven
Well, it was just funny just looking back at just what we did with all the free time that we had. It was like, think about in the evenings. We would work all day. And Jason at the time was floating, so he'd be at a different clinic every single day, different across town. And we just had the monthly. I don't even remember what day it fell on.
It was a guys' night, remember? Because I would send out a text and we'd just go to random spots too.
It would be
just like
yeah. It would just be alternating houses. Mm-hmm. But think about, so it was poker night. It was once, at least, if not twice a night, or twice a week at the Saucer. We were in a kickball league. Mm-hmm. That's what we did with our free time before kids.
Because I remember the Flying Saucer was like, it was on their trivia night. Not that we ever did their trivia, right? I think we just.
I don't think we ever did the trivia.
I think it started when we were like finishing up usually, but because I remember Jeremy was there and like Chance. Remember Chance?
Yeah, Chance.
I think he used to come to that. It was like the other floaters. Like me and Jeremy and Chance were floaters at the time.
Yeah.
And then you guys were there.
We had a pretty good little crowd.
Yeah, I mean there was like 6 of us or something. Yeah. I think I got to like 75 beers or something like that. But that was in a pretty short amount of time.
So I got to know. So Jason and I started our kind of own little tour over at Old Chicago, doing a similar thing there. Did you ever finish? Last time I checked, you were like 6 beers away.
I think I'm still there.
I don't know that I've gone back.
I'm like one visit away from
because we
the
used
wall
to
of foam.
be great about like one day after work, we'd be like, hey man, let's meet at Old Chicago at, once we both got off work and we just meet over there. We're like, hey man, we'll knock out a couple beers. Always get the pizza rolls. Oh, yeah. Always.
Man, those things were good.
Man, they were.
Remember when they started cutting down was it the size or the amount they gave you?
Yeah, I think it was like less
their
pizza
happy
rolls.
hour. They had a happy hour where you could get their like pizza rolls for a really good price. And then we got there one time. We went, and it seemed like a third of what we were getting. And they just started changing it. But yeah, we knocked out. I mean,
how many were in the tour? Is it 200? Is it 200? And so you can do 3 a day. I think
maybe it was 100.
Well, that was the same thing as the Saucer.
No, see, that's where I think it was 100. I think it was 100 there. And I'm still at 96 where I was like 5 years ago.
I don't know how anybody can live that way or drink that much and then be able to wake up with a hangover and take care of a kid. That just sounds like a nightmare to me.
Kids are unforgiving when it comes to that.
The classic saying is, it doesn't matter what time you go to bed or how you feel, they wake up at the same time.
Yep. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It is so true.
Oh, and if they sense blood in the water, game over. They're like, oh, Daddy feels horrible today. Let's fight nonstop.
Yeah, we're going to pitch a fit.
Let's have the meltdown of all meltdowns that I've had over the past 6 months today. And then the whole time you're like, guys, please, just not today. And they're like, oh, did you say make it worse?
Oh, man.
Oh, it's brutal.
For the ones that have a boy and a girl, what gender is the worst when it comes to that?
Oh, man. I think...
Just wanting to know, because I'm going to have a boy and I have zero experience.
I think it's more the age than it is the gender.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, my oldest, he's 11. I think you explained to him, hey, remember when you were really sick and you felt terrible and you threw up in the toilet and then you threw up on yourself in bed? That's how I feel today. He's like, oh, okay. I'll leave you alone. But but when they're like 6, no, not at all.
No mercy.
Do you remember yesterday? No, Dad.
No. Okay. Remember when you were sick? I've never been sick. Okay.
Do you remember when I said your name 5 seconds ago? Who are you again?
What's my name?
Marcus's grandma-in-law.
I actually have a funny video that Michelle took, and it was the day after, I want to say I think it might have been after somebody's, maybe Marcus' bachelor party or something like that. I don't know. Somebody's bachelor party that I went to, and it was like my son, she had a question for me, but wasn't able to let me sleep it off. And so she puts my, at the time, 1-year-old in bed, and he's just like slapping my head while I'm asleep.
She's filming it.
She's filming it. I literally have this video. He's like, "Daddy, Daddy." And that pretty much sums up like how you have to deal with a hangover when you have kids.
Yeah.
Oh man, that does not sound fun at all.
Yeah.
Good thing you stopped drinking.
Yeah, I would probably be having a lot of those.
Man, but I tell you, speaking of hangovers, all y'all can remember early on having the kid, like the lack of sleep
Oh,
to
yeah.
me was like almost worse than any hangover. Like, because you can prep for it and be like, oh yeah, I can pull some all-nighters. I don't think there's anything that prepares you for the lack of sleep with a newborn.
Yeah, the cumulative effect.
Like, that by far was the hardest thing for me to adjust with, like with kids, was like, the waking up at the whatever hour nights. Now, I say that, and I will put the disclaimer that my wife was amazing, that like whenever our kids woke up in the middle of the night, 9 times out of 10, like she'd be like, okay, I'll go handle it. But still, just the lack of sleep, being woken up and then trying to go back to sleep, and then the function, during the workday. I mean, that was just, in my opinion, brutal.
That was the most video games I ever played as an adult, was when there was one of my kids' schedules I would do one like feeding at night, and my wife did everything else. And so, but the one feeding I would do would be like that 11:31. So it was like not late, like it wasn't worth going to sleep. Like, could I go to sleep at 10 and then have to get up at like 11:15? I was like, nah. So I would just stay up and play video games until like 11:30, do the feeding, and then I would go to bed. I remember
Nice.
that.
Pro tip.
Yeah.
Go ahead and volunteer for that first one, and then just stay up late.
That's smart.
You get a little bit of alone time, and then you do the feeding, and then you're done, and then you're
So-
out. So propose that.
This is a good question. All right.
Yeah.
We only have 20 minutes left because Aaron has to get out of here at 4 o'clock. So we should probably end on this one of how did you guys do the wakes at night as your firstborn? Like, did you do like every feeding off and on, or did you do one day at a time? Like, so me and Haley do. I feed, I rock, everything at night, and then she does the next night.
I feel like we did. We based it on trying to give each other the biggest, longest stretch of sleep. So if the baby would go down at like 7:30, my wife would go to bed at 7:30.
Okay.
And then if there was like a feeding at like 10, I would do that so that she could get that 5 to 6 hours, if possible, chunk. And then I would go to bed, and then she would kind of take the next couple shifts to get me that 5+ hour.
Did she breastfeed?
She did, yeah.
Gotcha.
But I mean, it was mostly like pumping.
Gotcha.
So she would breastfeed, and then I would bottle feed. And I think it worked with maybe 2 out of 3 kids, and one of them just wasn't as good with the bottle. So
Yeah, I asked that question because for Ada, it was she couldn't latch on to Haley, so we didn't breastfeed. We bottle fed and used formula the entire time. And at first, we did every other feeding. I would wake up, and that really sucked because you didn't get that large.
Long stretch. Yeah.
Yeah, and
it was
I
all
think
about
that,
trying to buy the longest stretch.
That really effed me up with the sleep deprivation. But it wasn't until I got on medication and did a whole bunch of other stuff. But it wasn't until we started alternating the days where that night I knew I was going to get a full night's sleep. I might wake up to her crying, but I can fall back asleep because I know Haley is going to take care of her. What was it like for you, Chris?
Mine will be really short. So it was when we have you first, because the first one, like, you're idiots and you have no idea, and everything is like you're just trying to figure it out. And Callie was having a lot more trouble with latching and some mastitis, and so I would every single time it was time to feed, there was just this routine that you had to go through to kind of help Callie kind of get ready. So I would wake up every feeding and go get like hot washcloths and then get the ice packs, and then I would get Isla and bring her in and change her and bring her into Callie, and then I would fall back asleep, and I would sleep until she was done, and then Callie would wake me up, and I'd go take her and put her back in the bed. So that was every feeding for 7 weeks, and it was the worst I've ever felt in my entire life. And then Isla started sleeping through the night at 7 weeks old.
Oh, that's nice.
We've been really blessed with great sleepers, like all 3 of them, and I never want to go back there to that time. And so I think it was so bad then that when we had our second and our third, we were lucky enough we didn't have to do any type of bottle feeding, not unless Callie was like going to work or something. So I never did any other feeding shifts for any of my other kids. I would get up. The most I would do is get up and go get them for her, and then fall back asleep in the bed, and she would go take them back to sleep. That was it.
Nice.
And so we just didn't need it. I think we kind of figured it out, and Callie didn't have any other trouble with the other 2, and it was just kind of like, I got her. And at the most, she would be like, can you go get her this time? And I'd say, yeah, I'll go get her. But I would fall back asleep, so I had no feeding schedule. And now we have 3. So,
Man, I think the first one, I slept great. I did awesome because
he didn't do
a
thing.
No, I was stiff as a board. My wife goes, you did not know how to hold her or soothe her or do anything. Like, you were just terrible. She goes, I got so frustrated with you. I couldn't wake you up because you sleep so heavy. So I couldn't wake you up, and by the time it took me to wake you up and then convince you to go feed her, like, I might as well do it myself. So I just did it myself. So Natalie was a rock star. Like, she carried the weight for Sydney. Piper, second baby, man, I love her. Like, I get it. Like, she likes me. Sydney didn't like me, probably because I didn't know how to calm her down. So we didn't really have that bonding, I think, at the beginning. But we're great now. But for the second kid, it's just getting in a habit and just a routine. And we looked at the schedule. It's okay, who needs to sleep more this night? Who doesn't? And then kind of going that way. But yeah, no, first baby, I slept great.
Yeah, I think you were the first guest we've had on that has said that.
Yep.
Now for me,
Yeah,
I mean, it is much kind of like Chris and Aaron. Like, Sarah she was amazing. She was just like, she was very much into, I want to breastfeed our babies as much as possible, and forego the bottles if we don't have to. And so 9 times out of 10, she would just get up and she would go feed the kid in the middle of the night, with the rare exception of, hey, can you go get her and bring her to the bed for me or whatever. But 9 times out of 10, I was very blessed that Sarah was gung-ho about kind of taking that lead.
Yeah.
But, there's still definitely the whole waking up in the middle of the night and then being like, okay, are you handling it? Do you need me to go in there? No. Okay, cool. I'm going to try to go back to sleep. And so I didn't have it as rough as a lot of other folks, and thankfully both our kids wound up sleeping through the night pretty early on, so we didn't have those struggles, thank goodness. Because I hear nightmare stories of folks being like, oh, my kid is almost a year old and not sleeping through the night. And I'm like, I can't even begin to imagine. May God have mercy on your soul, because that is
Ada.
oh, man.
She wakes up like at least 2, maybe 3 times a night.
Dang.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we co-slept. That's how we dealt with it. It's probably not the best medical advice, but my wife exclusively breastfed all 3 kids. First kid, we would get her not co-sleep, and then by the time the second kid came, it was so this think of this logically. Can one of us roll over on her? Worth the risk. So, because your confidence for some reason triples when you have a second kindergarten. I understand things now. So, Yeah, first kid, I feel like we tried to do everything by the books and like, okay, you go in there, you breastfeed her, wake me up if I need to change the diaper. Second kid, it was like, all right, if she's really wet or pooped in the middle of the night, yeah, I'll change her, wake me up. And with third kid, yeah, just co-slept basically the entire time. So that's how we dealt with it. Was co-sleeping.
Nice.
So
I think it's interesting how you can read all the books and they have all these plans laid out, but at the end of the day, it was kind of like you got to do what works.
Pretty much.
you know.
Yeah. You
I
have to
mean,
be able to
you
be
literally
flexible.
just have to figure it out. You got to be flexible. You got to figure out what works, and that's the best thing you can do.
yeah, I think the birthing plan was the first instance of realizing every plan we had meant nothing. Like, what's your birth plan? It's like, well, my wife's water broke 10 days early, so it wasn't any of this. What do you want to do now? Yeah, I'm still. I didn't expect a child to come today.
I'm alive?
Yeah, I thought you guys were the ones who knew what you were doing. Yeah, I feel like birth plans are the biggest example. They're like, how do you want your perfect birth? And it's like, it's not going to happen. Should be the
I mean, I
next
think that's
sentence.
why the firstborn, like having one, is the hardest.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to force some sort of,
Schedule.
predetermined schedule or plan
This plan.
onto it, and it doesn't work. And you keep trying to force it, and it's
Yep.
not working. And you're like, gosh, this is so hard. Nothing works. But then you have your second, and you're just kind of like, whoa, you
okay.
have to kind of make it work.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, wow, that went better. And it's just because you kind of went with what worked.
Well, I think that's almost like parenting in general. Be like, you have a kid, and they're like, "Oh, you have a plan? that's cute.
Yeah.
Let's throw in some audibles here." I
Yeah.
mean, the ability to adapt to everything, because you can plan out whatever you want. I can almost guarantee you, there's going to be wrenches thrown in the system. And you just got to figure it out.
Justin, do you want to take us home? Do you want to close it out?
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys coming on, man. This was a great time,
Appreciate it.
and for us to not be able to do this very often, this is very special. So, Marcus, Aaron, Chris, Jason, Devin.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. Do you guys want to do any shout outs to where you work or your Instagram or anything like that? We always say that at the end of the podcast. If you want to, or shout out.
Any self-promotion.
Yeah, any self-promotion.
Shameless.
The best self promotion is promoting your rock star wife for being an awesome mom.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
shout out to Michelle Barclay right there.
There you go.
Maybe we'll keep that going.
All shout out to Michelle for the.
Shout out to Michelle, who cooks amazing lasagna.
Yes.
And some of our best stories. We need to talk about those stories.
Even
Game
the
nights.
cookies.
Oh,
Game
yeah.
nights
those
at the
cookies.
Barclays house.
Yeah, what the heck?
Hey,
We
we
haven't
tried
had one of
to
those
set
for-
one up around Teresa's birthday,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like
We all bailed.
everybody bailed. Man.
I think we can do it again.
I don't ever really
Well,
hear
dude,
about those.
I
It's just
remember-
my wife is on the group. It's just a
We
women's group text.
tried to set up the Wild Feathers. Everybody was going, and then
yeah.
everybody bailed except for me, Chris, and Callie.
That's right. That's right.
I just realized that whenever you try to do parent hangouts, it's like a horror movie. You just watch people get picked off one by one, by one by one, and then it's like who's left
Went to the
standing.
garage alone.
Well, here's what really happens though is when we do a hangout either as a group and we try to include Justin or just like one-on-one hangouts with Justin. Either Haley's sick or
Yeah.
Justin's sick or Ada's sick or now the second
Try
child's sick
scheduling a
already.
podcast with them.
Yeah. So it's just like
I'm sorry, Devin.
so I'm at work. I was like, man, I'm going to hang out with the Cottons tonight. It's great. I'm looking forward to it. And then I see my phone pop up. It's a text message from Justin. I go, I bet you he's canceling on me. And I open it up. I'm sick with the sniffles.
Well, I think last time I made him cancel on you so we could interview Joe Willis. So that one you can blame on me.
Right, there we go.
Yeah, he was just like, man, you really need to be here for this. I was like, I double booked myself.
That's so funny. Joe said no.
Joe said, well,
Yeah, he came
Justin
on.
said no.
Justin said no.
Justin said no. To Aaron.
That's right.
No,
Joe
he-
told
that's right.
Justin to say no.
He was a great guest, so thank you, Aaron. We ended up hanging out that weekend anyways. We went to Franklin and walked around,
Yep, absolutely.
ate at Mellow Mushroom. But no, we do need to get together for a game night.
Yeah.
Game night, poker night, something like that. I miss you guys a lot.
I think it'd be a good time to get to a game night again, just with the wives as well, since that's where our shallots are going. They helped us get to become the fathers that we are today. But but it's great reminiscing about all of our stories. But now it is like house parties where I think our kids can look at their mom and dad still having fun with friends at the house and with Cards Against Humanity, because that's typically what we play.
Awesome. All right, well, thank you guys. I love you, man.
Love you. All right, thanks, Justin.
Thanks again for listening. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at The Nashville Dads and to subscribe to us on Apple and Spotify podcast. We record at New Light Podcast Studio and episodes are produced by me, Devin.